Welcome, champions. This is Arcadia.
So, just a quick refresh. We've talked about the three central storylines that Arcadia First Omen is trying to cover. One was the Arcadians, a group of people who are playing this game, Omen, and their individual stories and interactions in and outside the game. Then there's the storyline of the game Omen itself, the Trick Hunters and the bandits and the different players moving through that world and their fantasy adventures. But now we want to talk about the Godfreys. They're the family that owns the mega tech corporation GodTech, who are planning a release Souls, a expansion for the Omen game, and that's going to be previewed at TechCon, a big event everyone in the community is geared up for. There's going to be a competition, celebration, and speeches and all that stuff. And in that storyline with the God Tech and the Godfreys, we have several characters there and dilemmas and conflicts that are going to intertwine both within and into the other storylines. There will be, the family members, the upper level sort of succession vibe that we'll get from the Godfreys, but also back on a more normal, kind of like the Arcadians, maybe they're playing through this world with dragons and princes and everything, but they're still regular people. The Godfreys themselves are, uber rich billionaires, private helicopters and everything. But there's also people in this company who are more normal people, programmers and community outreach or whatever. And we're going to have those characters, and they'll also interact with all of them. And, Doug, maybe get us into some of the details of these characters.
Absolutely. I think I say absolutely every time I come in.
That is fine.
Way to come in.
Two characters that we get to focus on are Horn Hero and Sebastian. Sebastian is one of the community team leads who helps take people's interactions with the game, whether it be comments, support, or like they have a bug fix that's been a real big problem. All those things are reported to him, and he makes sure that they get seen to the proper channels. And we have Horn Hero, who is a quality assurance engineer who tests, finds, and fixes bugs in the game. And we get to go along their story as they, along with Sebastian's sister Jacqueline, who we don't get to interact with as much, but she is part of the story, how all three of them interact with Arcadia, because all of them have to come in and help with a bug that is going on. And it's a bug that is pretty important to some of our characters.
He brought up the fractal employees, but there is also, as Sean put, the higher ups, GodTech, which is the mega corporation, and in charge of that is the Godfreys. There is Dominic, Nathan, Stella, and Gillen. Each of these members are super important. We mainly follow Dominic and his journey into making sure the game is all the safety precautions are there before Soul is launched, and he goes on trying to basically fix that, as well as get prepared for what's the word?
Investors meeting.
That's the word. He tries to prepare for an investors meeting. So they're pretty straightforward, it feels like, but there's a lot more going on with them, and we get to see this kind of secession type of family, maybe not as brutal as or rude, because they, even though they have like a lot of money, they're still real people with real feelings and real problems, and they try to treat their everyday lives by respecting people as best as they can. At least most of them. Maybe not Nathan, but some of most of them. I'm gonna have Dylan talk a little bit about another asset that we haven't even talked about at all.
Yeah, and honestly, this is probably the most fun character that we do have in the entire script. And like whenever we do get to cast Anna, it'll probably be the most magnificent day. So Anna is a streamer, which in the full dive system that the Wave Rider is, being a streamer is a pretty big deal. They're not necessarily GodTech or Fractal employees, and Anna is not part of the guild, but she is the salesman. She is like the carnival barker that is getting the eyes on the Souls game, because it is so fascinating, and Anna is such a wondrous personality. She is bigger than every room that she's in, and she does have a commanding presence.
Don't you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I did want to point out other feature of our story, the Wave Rider. The GodTech company, it's, they make this game, but they're a mega tech corporation, and this game is just like one piece of what they do. Another important thing they have done in our world is make this VR headset that's more immersive and I don't know, practical for use. All the things you want out of it, we get to make it that way in our
You might call it a full dive system.
Yes. And so it can be used in this game so that people can be fully immersed into the game and, maybe feel the effects of G-force or something's hot or even how something tastes. Is all the new technology you're exploring with. But outside this game, it also gets used for like medical research and, training pilots. And, you can imagine all the implications. So this company is really big and really important. And this Wave Rider is key to them and our characters and our story. And we're even hoping to make it sort of an iconic image. We got to work on that. We're just transitioning out of the writing stage. We don't have like props built or whatever yet, but it is something that we want to feature and that we're excited about, the Wave Rider.
So overall, we have our three big stories, the guild, the game itself, Omen, and then these developers. And how do they all intertwine with each other? What big event will cause them all to crisscross and maybe intertwine stories?
Well, now that you know a little bit about where our stories are starting, I really hope you stick around and start to be with us as we start to make and create this story and get to see where it goes. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to stay up to date, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment.
And remember, champions, stay ever vigilant.